My dear friends, picture this. It's a quiet April morning in 2026, and you're sitting right here at your kitchen table with me, just like old times, sipping coffee and flipping through the mail. You've worked hard your whole life, raised the kids, paid into the system, and now you're counting on that monthly check from Social Security, SSI, or SSDI to keep the lights on, the groceries in the fridge, and maybe even treat the grandkids to an ice cream cone once in a while. But then you open an envelope or glance at your bank app and your heart drops. The deposit that usually arrives like clockwork is missing. What happened? You wonder, panic rising. Was it a computer glitch? A scam? No, my friends, this could be the new reality for thousands of seniors who step foot outside the United States without knowing the latest SSA rules on foreign travel and transactions. I've heard from so many of you in our community, folks just like you in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, who planned a simple trip to see family in the old country or visit a grandchild studying abroad, only to watch their benefits vanish for weeks or even months. One dear lady I spoke with last week, let's call her Margaret from Ohio, saved up for years to fly to Ireland for her 65th wedding anniversary reunion. She was gone 35 days, came home excited, and then her SSI check stopped cold. No warning, no letter in time, just empty worry and bills piling up. She thought she was doing everything right, but the rules caught her off guard. My friends, if you're on Social Security, SSI, or SSDI, this April 2026 update could change how much you get this month, or whether you get it at all. I'm here as your calm, trusted friend, the one who's been watching every SSA announcement so you don't have to stress alone. We're going to unpack this together, just like we always do, with clear facts, real dollar amounts, and simple steps to protect what's yours. Because you've earned every penny of these benefits, and no one should lose sleep wondering if a family visit or a wire transfer will trigger a suspension. Let's pull up a chair and talk it through. You see, the Social Security Administration didn't pass some brand new sweeping law overnight, but in early 2026, they tightened enforcement on long-standing rules about foreign travel and how your payments move across borders. With better data sharing between SSA and the Department of Homeland Security, they're now cross-checking travel records more closely than ever before. That means if you're receiving SSI, the needs-based program that helps so many of our low-income seniors make ends meet, your benefits can be suspended the moment you're outside the United States for 30 consecutive days or a full calendar month. We're talking about the 50 states, DC, and the Northern Mariana Islands as in the country. Even Puerto Rico or Guam counts as abroad for SSI purposes. Margaret's story is so common, she left on day one, stayed 35 days, and her $994 maximum federal SSI payment for 2026 simply stopped. To get it restarted, she had to return, stay put in the US for a full 30 days, and then benefits kicked back in the following month. That's potentially 2 or 3 missed checks, hundreds of dollars gone when rent is due, and groceries cost more than ever. Now, if you're on SSDI instead, the rules are kinder for most US citizens. You can usually keep receiving your disability checks indefinitely while traveling or even living abroad in most countries, as long as you stay eligible. But non-citizens on SSDI? After 6 full calendar months away, those payments typically pause unless you qualify for one of the special country list exceptions or have a strong US work history. And here's where the foreign transactions part comes in this April 2026 update. SSA is also watching how your money moves. If you set up direct deposit to a foreign bank account or receive payments via international wire, new banking scrutiny in places like Mexico or other popular retirement spots can flag or delay your deposit under anti-money laundering rules. One senior in Texas told me his April SSDI payment was held up for 2 weeks because the receiving bank in Cancun required extra proof of the source. It wasn't a suspension from SSA itself, but it felt like one when the bills kept coming. Let me give you a real-life example that hits close to home for so many of us. Take Robert, a 68-year-old retired mechanic from Pennsylvania on SSDI after a back injury on the job. He averages about $690 a month in 2026 after the 2.8% COLA increase that kicked in back in January. Thank goodness for that little boost to help with rising costs. Robert decided to spend 6 weeks with his daughter in Canada last winter. Because he's a U.S. citizen on SSDI, his benefits kept coming the whole time, no problem. But his neighbor, Betty, who receives both SSI and a small SSDI top-up because her disability check alone wasn't enough, went on the same trip. Betty's SSI portion, around $700 after her other income, got suspended the minute she hit day 31 abroad. She came home to 2 missed payments and had to borrow from family just to cover her electric bill. Stories like Betty's are why I'm speaking up right now in this April 2026 video. The good news? There are hidden ways to avoid the clawback and even maximize what you receive. First, always report your travel plans to SSA at least 2 weeks before you leave. Call 1-800-772-1213 or use your My Social Security account online. Fill out that simple form SSA 21 if you're a non-citizen planning 30 days or more away. It's free, it's quick, and it can prevent the automatic suspension. If you do get hit with a pause, you can appeal it. Many folks win by showing they returned promptly and maintained U.S. residency. Now let's talk dollars and cents so you know exactly what's at stake this month. Thanks to the 2.8% COLA announced last fall, the average SSDI check is hovering around 1,690, while the maximum federal SSI payment for an individual is $994 and $1,291 for a couple in 2026. That's real money helping pay for prescriptions, home repairs, or that extra tank of gas. But if your benefits get suspended because of unreported foreign travel, SSA can claw back any overpayments later. Sometimes hundreds of dollars you'll have to repay out of future checks. I've seen it happen to seniors who didn't realize their short cruise to the Bahamas counted as abroad. On the flip side, there are smart strategies and even little-known bonuses to protect and grow your income. If you're on SSI, check with your state. Many offer extra supplements on top of the federal amount, and those don't always stop the same way during short trips. Some states keep paying while you're gone for medical treatment abroad. And if you also qualify for VA benefits as a veteran, those payments often continue no matter where you travel as long as you notify the VA of your address change. Veterans I've spoken with in our community have used their VA pension as a safety net during SSI pauses, sometimes adding $1,000 or more a month that keeps flowing. Don't forget tax implications either, my friends. Social Security and SSDI benefits can be taxable if your total income is high enough, up to 85% in some cases. But living or traveling abroad temporarily doesn't usually change that for U.S. citizens. You still file your U.S. taxes, and SSA might withhold a bit if you have foreign income from a pension or part-time work overseas. The key is reporting any foreign earnings or transactions honestly. Failing to do so can trigger an audit or reduction in your benefit. I know a gentleman named Frank in Florida who receives SSDI and a small foreign pension from his days working in Germany before he became a citizen. In 2026, that pension didn't reduce his SSDI thanks to recent changes, but he still had to report it so SSA could calculate his countable income correctly for any SSI portion he might qualify for. Smart planning like that saved him from an unexpected offset. Here's another relatable story to drive this home. Sarah, a 72-year-old widow from Michigan on SSI after losing her husband, wanted to visit her son stationed in Japan for a month. She called SSA ahead of time, got the proper paperwork done, and even set up her direct deposit to a U.S. bank so the money would still hit her account while she was gone. No suspension. She came home. Her $994 check arrived on schedule, actually a bit higher thanks to the COLA, and she even qualified for an extra state supplement that month because her living expenses dipped while away. Contrast that with folks who didn't report and ended up in the SSA office begging for reinstatement. The difference? A simple phone call and a few minutes of planning. And speaking of direct deposit, this April 2026, SSA is pushing everyone toward electronic payments to avoid paper check delays. If you're still getting a check in the mail, switch now. It's safer and faster, especially if you ever travel. For international folks, SSA can send payments to banks in dozens of countries, but you'll want to confirm your account details to dodge any foreign transaction fees or holds that popped up in places like Mexico this spring. My friends, let's talk about maximizing every dollar you're entitled to, because that's what a good neighbor does. Helps you stretch your retirement income as far as possible. If you're on SSDI and thinking about a longer stay abroad, use SSA's Payments Abroad screening tool online to check your specific country. It tells you in plain English whether your benefits will keep coming indefinitely or pause after 6 months. For SSI recipients, the rule is crystal clear. Plan trips shorter than 30 days whenever possible, or line up a U.S. return visit to reset the clock. And if you're receiving both SSI and SSDI, know that the SSDI part is more forgiving. Sometimes shifting more of your income to that side through a proper application can protect you during travel. There are also credits and exclusions you might be missing. The student earned income exclusion if a grandchild in your household is in school, or special rules if you're working part-time while on disability. One couple I know in Arizona used the 2026 trial work period rules on SSDI to test out a small home business without losing benefits right away, earning up to $1,110 a month in 2026 before it counts against them. That extra cash helped cover their grandson's college visit abroad without dipping into their SSI. Of course, we can't ignore the emotional side. These benefits aren't just numbers on a page. They're your independence, your dignity, the ability to help family without asking for handouts. I've sat across tables from too many seniors who felt ashamed when a suspension forced them to choose between medicine and food. That's why I'm urging you right now. Log into your My Social Security account today, review your direct deposit setup, and make a note of any upcoming travel. If you suspect a suspension already hit your April 2026 payment, call SSA immediately. They have representatives trained to reinstate quickly when you provide proof of return and residency. And for our veterans watching, remember your VA benefits often run on a separate track with their own overseas rules. Contact them at 1-800-827-1000 to coordinate so nothing falls through the cracks. As we wrap up our kitchen table chat today, I want you to feel empowered, not scared. This April 2026 SSA focus on foreign transactions and travel isn't meant to punish anyone. It's about making sure benefits go to those who truly qualify as U.S. residents when required. By knowing the 30-day rule for SSI, the 6-month flexibility for SSDI, and the importance of reporting every trip and every international bank detail, you can travel with confidence, visit loved ones, and keep those checks coming on time. Your April payments are rolling out right now on the usual schedule. Check your birth date for the exact day. And thanks to that 2.8% COLA, most of you are seeing a few extra dollars each month to fight inflation. If you're worried about your specific situation, reach out to SSA or drop a comment below with your questions. I read every one and try to answer as many as possible in future videos. You're not alone in this, my friends. We've got each other. And together, we'll make sure your hard-earned retirement stays secure no matter where life takes you next. Take care of yourselves, give the grandkids a hug from me, and I'll see you in the next update. God bless, and remember, your benefits are protected when you stay informed. Until next time, stay safe and keep that coffee warm.